Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. This is the news on Thursday, the 22nd of June. We are live in the studio, so get your comments in, get your thoughts in the live chat. We've got loads to talk about today. We're talking about Harry Kane potentially handing in a transfer request. He's been begged, urged to hand in a transfer request. It might be the only way we can sign him. We'll find out exactly what is going on there. We've also got the latest on the Takeover. Rumours that Jim Ratcliffe's getting a bit upset. He's getting a bit touchy. He thinks that things might not be going his way. We'll get into all that. We've also got a little update, should I say, on Kolo Muani and Mason Mount latest as well. Fabrizio Romano has been speaking since we went live last night, talking about the latest with Mason Mount. So we will get into all of that. Get your thoughts in the comments. Morning everyone. Morning. Jim should just F off so we can get moving. That's from I Am The Bee. If I reckon whatever you were going to do in terms of getting the thing moving, you can probably still do it even if Jim's knocking about. So you get stuck in on those documents, I Am The Bee. Right, let's start with Harry Kane, shall we? This is circulating this morning, talking about Manchester United have sent Harry Kane instructions over finally completing £100 million Tottenham transfer. United are reportedly ready to launch one final push to sign Kane after recently deciding to cool their interest. It was very recently as well. This is the thing I don't quite understand about this deal. It was only a week ago that we went, no, we're not having this. And then 7 days later, we're gone, but maybe. Man United have reportedly told Harry Kane to agitate for a transfer to Old Trafford if he wants to make the move happen this summer. Erik ten Hag is still thought to be quietly hopeful that a deal can somehow be struck for the England captain, who has been identified as a signing that could elevate the Red Devils to the next level. Yet, recently, United cooled their interest in the 29-year-old. After acknowledging that their chances of signing the prolific centre-forward, he's the 29-year-old, he's the prolific centre-forward, he's all sorts. The chances were minimal. Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy has no interest in selling to another Premier League club, and Real Madrid have since decided that Kane is out of their financial reach following Karim Benzema's move to Al Ittihad in Saudi Arabia. Bayern Munich and Paris Saint-Germain remain interested in Kane, but it is understood to favour staying in England as he attempts to gun down Alan Shearer's all-time Premier League goal-scoring record. We've seen it in The Sun. There's other publications reporting it as well, that United have left the ball in Kane's court over a move, telling his agent and his brother Charlie, Kane, this is his brother, that the talisman must take matters into his own hands to force through the deal. That's the point here, isn't it? He's got to do it himself. He's got to come out and hand in a transfer request. It's thought that that United required Kane to hand in a transfer request to swing the balance and up the pressure on Tottenham chief Daniel Levy to sell. Kane, who scored twice at Old Trafford. Back in 2021, he actively pushed for a transfer to City, but Tottenham held firm and rejected numerous bids from the Premier League champions. Now Kane holds the cards as he approaches the final 12 months of his deal, and Tottenham could this time be forced to sell the player if he outlines his desire to move on. I don't see him doing it 2 years in a row. And not to be negative here, because I want Harry Kane and I think he'd be a great signing. I just don't see a world where he hands in a transfer request after already, like we saw last season, kicking up a bit of a fuss. What was he not turning up for training and these sorts of rumours circulating about what he was up to. It might be the only way we can sign him. And maybe if he sees that, he sees the fact that once again Tottenham have just got a new manager in, a relatively unproven manager at that. Like, Tottenham are in transition once again. This is the fourth or fifth transition they've been in since Harry Kane's been at the club. He may have thought, Conte was the manager, I'll give him one more season. Or was Conte the manager then? Or I can't even remember who was the manager at that point. It might have even been Jose when he was being linked with Man City. But either way, they went from Jose to Conte. They were going for managers who they thought would win them a trophy. Proven winners. Maybe he thought, I won't push too hard to go to Man City in 2021 because we've got a manager here that is going to win us something. And even if I win an FA Cup, that will be enough for me to stay at Tottenham. Now, they've got a new manager. I can't remember his name. I know that's harsh. Let's have a look. The Tottenham manager. Oh, yeah, Postecoglou, obviously. Done well at Celtic. Has done well in the past. Looks like a promising manager, but you know, we've seen that jump from Celtic, the jump from Yokohama Marinos in Japan to Celtic. He did a decent job with Australia, but again, what is a decent job with Australia? Qualify for a tournament. Like, I think he could be a very good manager, but he's someone that has been managing since 1996, and his best work is doing a treble with Celtic, which isn't easy. But Brendan Rodgers did that. Like, I just think that they could easily be a team that in 5 years has had 2 new managers, haven't won anything, and Kane is sort of left there stuck. And I think he probably realises that the chances of Tottenham winning a trophy this year are sort of a puncher's chance, but not much more than that. They're a team that needs rebuilding and reworking, and if it doesn't work out this season, then he's going to go on a free anyway. So maybe he would be more willing to sort of kick up a fuss than he was a couple of years ago. Maybe he is willing to hand in a transfer request. I don't even think Tottenham fans are being annoyed at him. I honestly think they get it. He is too good for them. He has stayed there longer than he needed to. Like, look at Jack Grealish. He was too big for Villa and he left. How old was he when he left? 25. Harry Kane's nearly 30. He's given you almost half a dozen years more than Tottenham really deserved. No offence to him, but they're a team that isn't as good as Harry Kane. They don't win anything. They keep rotating. They've been managed badly. They've bought terrible players over the years. He stayed there longer than he had to. I think the fact he's given his entire 20s to Tottenham would be enough for most Tottenham fans to go, you know what, I get it. He needed to go somewhere where he's got a better chance of winning trophies. And Man United, I know we didn't win a trophy for 5 years. We won a trophy last season. We got to another final. We are a team that does win trophies, even in our sort of fallow years. We're a team that wins trophies. I think people would understand if he forced to move, and I hope he does. I don't think it would be indicative of his character. I don't think he's the sort of person that likes kicking up a fuss. He's very PR friendly. He's someone that is very much sort of Mr. Straight, Mr. Right. He's very much playing the role of a good guy, isn't he, in football? He's not a villain by any means. But I just think he's at a point in his career where if this next 18 months doesn't go the right way for Harry Kane, he can be, I'm trying to think of a bigger one of the biggest sort of wastes of potential. Not even potential, he's proven. He might be the best player to never win a trophy in the history of football. Get in the comments if there's someone who you can think of who is better than Harry Kane that didn't win anything. I can't imagine there will be one. Even players who were sort of known for that. Shearer, he won a Premier League. Like, is there a player in the history of football who is better than Harry Kane who never won a trophy? Let me know in the comments, and I'll come back to that. Let's move on then. We'll talk about the takeover. This is the latest coming out of France. Ineos suffer loss of confidence in bid to buy Manchester United. We spoke a bit about this yesterday, but it's worth mentioning and putting a source to it as well. Nice Matin, which I believe is presumably a local newspaper to Nice, they are saying that Ineos are reportedly less confident of completing the purchase of the club Manchester United. The protracted sale of Man United is an ongoing process. Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been actively involved in trying to purchase the Old Trafford club and was at the club's Carrington training ground. Whilst those reports have been denied elsewhere, Nice Matin are reporting that Ineos have suffered a loss of confidence in the deal, despite remaining focused on the purchase of the club, as reported by Get French Football News last week. Dave Brailsford, Ineos' sporting director, is firmly focused on the purchase of the Man United of the Premier League club, whilst the negotiations over the purchase of Man United remain open. An air of uncertainty looms over Nice, whose summer transfer plans would be affected by the success or failure of the deal. This to me feels a little bit like speculation. I don't know what loss of confidence means. And also, confidence doesn't necessarily have any direct it's not necessarily part of the equation of likelihood, is it? Confidence is how a person feels. That doesn't mean that confidence is true or false. You can have false confidence. You can be, underconfident. Jim Ratcliffe could still win. Qatar could still win. It doesn't matter how confident you are. It matters what the Glazers want. So I don't necessarily read too much into that personally. People talking about players better than Harry Kane who never won a trophy. People talking about Totti, but I'm pretty sure Totti, was he not part of the World Cup squad? I'm pretty sure he won something. Let's have a look. Totti. Let's have a look at his Wikipedia. I trust Wikipedia. I'm one of the few people that actually trust Wikipedia. Let's have a look at honours. He won the Serie A in 2001. He won 2 Coppa Italias. He won the World Cup in 2006. I think he's done all right there, actually. He's won 2 Italian Super Cups, 2 Italian Cups, and Serie A. So, yeah, Totti's done all right. He's not won as much as his talent deserved, but he's won a World Cup, a league, 2 FA Cups equivalents. So, yeah, there's no question there. Batistuta is another one people are talking about. I like this little game that we're playing. Honours. He won the Argentinian Premier Division. He won Serie A in 2001 with Roma, the same Serie A that Totti won. Not even close. Matt Letizia. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I know he's very good, and he's just before my time, so I can't say this with any certainty. I think Harry Kane's a better player than Matt Letizia. No offence to Matt Letizia. I know he's a cult hero. I know he's got a great touch. He's one of those players who scored some amazing goals. I've seen highlights. You can't play 8 games for England and be better than Harry Kane. You just can't, unfortunately. Harry Kane is better. And also, Matt Letizia has won trophies. He won the full Members Cup runner-up. He also won the Wessex Football League in 2002-03. In fairness, no, that's not true. He won the One Man Club Award in 2015. So he has won trophies. Matt Letizia isn't as good as Harry Kane. I'm just going to say that. I just don't think he is. He's a very good player. He's probably, top level player, but I'm just not having that he's better than Harry Kane. He just isn't, is he? Let's be honest. Anyway, let's move on to some more news. Kolo Muani is the latest player to be linked with United. He's been linked with United sort of on and off all summer, but there's been an update coming this morning from the Mirror, as you can see there. Manchester United and Bayern Munich will go head-to-head to battle to sign France international striker Randall Kolo Muani. United are hopeful of signing 2 forwards this summer. One with the profile to immediately fit into their strongest lineup, which Eintracht Frankfurt's Kolo Muani would fit, and a younger option. Sorry, I've got a burp right on the cusp. And a younger option who can be rotated into the side throughout the campaign, like sort of we're kind of folding butter into a croissant dough. That's what I think of it as. Tottenham striker Harry Kane had led Ten Hag's target list this summer. Old Trafford, and he's on red alert to sign a central striker. That's Ten Hag. However, United chiefs have swiftly grown pessimistic, love that, on any deal, as they believe that Spurs chairman Daniel Levy will simply not countenance the striker's exit, and much less to a direct rival in the Premier League. Someone said, plus Letizia is a bell end. Interesting. Sorry about that. Kolo Muani is the sort of player I just don't understand us buying. I know he's done okay, but I just think he's 24, which obviously isn't old, but he's an age where we've seen kind of what sort of player he is, and he's done well at Frankfurt, but he got 15 league goals last season, which is okay, but that's less than Rashford, and Rashford's not a striker. The season before last, he got 13 league goals, and that was in League One. Season before that, 10 league goals. I know last season he got 24 goals, but at 23 goals, 17 assists. But that, I don't know if that's enough. Is that enough? Maybe if you get him in the right system, if he's a very good finisher, there's a chance that we can get more out of him. But I just feel like 15 league goals is good numbers. But if you want him to be your main number 9 and you're spending main number 9 money on him, I just wish he'd done a bit more than that. Never scoring 20 league goals isn't particularly exciting, is it? Someone says he plays the number 9 like Rashford. He's not a trucker. He's not a truckers. He's like a right winger playing up front. Yeah, I think that's what I've heard and read about him, is that he is more of a sort of, not Rashford style, but he's a quick, tricky striker. He's not a number 9 in the traditional sense. He's not a Kane or a Haaland or someone that is, excellent at putting the ball in the back of the net. He's more of a on the ball type striker. But I mean, if this is the only option, do we take Muani for 60 million, 70 million, whatever it would cost, or Do we wait and we get Harry Kane next year and we save a bit of money or spend a bit of money elsewhere? I don't know. I don't know what the best thing to do is. United need a striker now, so maybe we have to go with someone who isn't necessarily the best choice available. Also, Mason Mount, we've been seeing news this morning from Fabrizio Romano. United, this was late last night, I believe. Man United will bid again for Mason Mount. Personal terms are 100% agreed and sealed. Mount plans not to sign a new deal at Chelsea. Man United want a quick resolution and won't make crazy bids. Chelsea now flexible, 60 to 65 million, enough to get it done. I love that, 60 to 65. Well, so we'll take 60 then. If someone said we'll take between 60 and 65, why would you go with 65? As I said this last night, I think this deal will be done for 55 million plus 5 million in add-ons. That's what I can see being the fee. Just as it's sort of in between what both want. It lets United say we paid in the 50s for him, sort of rounding it down to 50 in people's minds. It lets Chelsea say they got 60 for him, which again is more in line with what they wanted. I think 55 plus 5 is probably where we're going to land with this. I do think this deal will get done. Mount wants it. Chelsea are clearly willing to do it. United clearly want it. There's nothing standing in the way except a fee. And Chelsea are softening on that fee. The rumours were 70 to 80, weren't they, a week ago? Now I've already got them down to 60 to 65. I think if we sort of nudge 60 with a couple of add-ons, I think we'll be there. Kez says 50 with 5. Yeah, something like that. Mason Mount, 53 million, says Lucky Singh. Something like that, innit? Fred cost us 50 million, exactly. I think Mason Mount is a much more suited player than Fred to a Ten Hag system. And for between 50 and 60 million, I think you've just about got yourself a fair deal there. I think 60 million is the upper threshold of what I would accept as decent value. I don't think it's good value. I don't think we're getting him on the cheap. But I think he's probably worth between 45 and 60 million. And if we get pulled up to the 60 million end, it's not the end of the world for me. I think that makes just about makes sense. Glenn F says we'll end up with Weghorst at the end of the season, but probably have to buy him this time for a ridiculous amount. Yeah, we end up paying 12.5 million quid for Weghorst or something like that. Manchester Maverick says still too much for 1 year contract left. Personally, I think 45 to 50 tops. Yeah, that's where it would be nice. I think that makes sense, but you know how it goes. United always spend 10 million more. Chelsea, I know they need money, but they've got money. So they're a team that, they're not going to sell their player for dead cheap just because United want them. They need to recoup some cash, don't they? So it makes sense to me. And also, they could feasibly not sell him. It's not like they're completely desperate for the money, but at the same time, they can't be going and taking 30 quid for a player who they think is worth 60. And by the looks of it, he is worth it because we've bid 45 plus 5, I think, at the moment. That's rejected. United will bid again, so obviously that's not going to be a bid worth less than the current one. So he is worth 60 million because that's what Chelsea want, and that's probably what they're going to get. So, it makes sense why they're saying that. Mount will be mint at United, says Jordan Clark. I think I agree with that, George Jones says, is this a good idea? Half of our budget by the sounds of it. I think that's the pre-sale budget. So if Maguire, McTominay, Fred, or one of those two, and then, other players might get a couple of million for Tellez, $1 million for Bailly, 10 million or so for Dean Henderson, maybe up to 20 million for Dean Henderson, depending on who buys him. Add a few others in there, Elanga and people like that. Maybe even a Donny van der Beek or a Martial, or, you're looking at probably another 60 to 100 million in sales. Then all of a sudden, it's 200 million quid, and we can get a couple of good players for that. So I think we can't not sign players because we haven't got a lot of money. Yes, you need to prioritise, but if the top striker isn't available, then maybe you do put a bit more money into the midfield. Because there's no point spending 100 million on a shit striker just because they're around. If Mount is the guy he wants, get him in. And if that means you're not getting Kane, well, maybe we couldn't get Kane anyway. We'll find out later in the window, of course. That is going to be all from me. We're back this afternoon. Adam McCullough will be here with Webby at 4 o'clock, so make sure you check that out with Transfers Live. Those two will be going through everything. Great to get them on the channel, so make sure you are here for that. Also, make sure you hit subscribe and hit the notification bell, because if there's any breaking news between now and then, we will be live. If there's any breaking news, any time of the transfer window, 24/7, we will go live. So if you want the latest on the takeover, you want the latest on the transfers, stay tuned to Stretford Paddock. Hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell as well, and you will see exactly when we go live. You don't want to be missing news, you don't want to be missing transfers. Make sure you hit that button so you do not miss out. Thank you very much for joining me. We'll see you in a bit.